Okay, Reb, so what do you think about family businesses?
To be honest, I think I've encountered families who work in family businesses who have different experiences of their family business. I think it can be a very fruitful and interesting experience working in a business with your relatives.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that's very intimate about it,
Mm-hmm.
to get time to actually do a project together with your family, having similar aims, a similar objective. So I think it can be a very fruitful experience, but then on the other end of it, I have also encountered families who struggle a bit with the boundaries between what work means to them and what their personal relationships are to them. And somehow the two different relationships can merge or maybe leak from one to the other. I don't know what your
Mm-hmm.
experience is of the
So
two.
my experience was being in a family business as well, and also working with individuals in family businesses. There tends to be a lot of issues with dynamics. I realize that almost like there tends to be one leader who tends to and then kind of monopolizes over everyone if no one stops him or her. So it can lead to a bit of conflict without us wanting to. And then the issue of, for example, having different generations. So, for example, the father would start the business, and then the son would come in his say mid 20s and come up with different ideas and new ideas and incorporate new technology, whilst, for example, his father would not use wouldn't use technology and use more old school methods. So this caused quite a bit of tension. And then what happens when family business is over at 7 o'clock in the evening? Then they go home. What happens then?
Yes.
You know, there tends to be this almost like they take it home with them. You know, this interplay is quite interesting, and I think it's very important for the family to actually speak about boundaries, as you mentioned, to speak about ways to tackle conflict, being open with each other and transparent. But again, I feel like maybe this is the talk that we have between us as mental health professionals, but in the world outside, maybe there isn't this type of this type of dynamic that comes out. Eh?
And I'm wondering also about the different sides of the personality of a person, because the way you are at work, your identity at work is sometimes a bit different from the way you are in your personal life. And I wonder how a person who encounters the same people and the same relationships in both situations makes sense of it. I think it can be a bit tricky, yes.
So what you're saying is that maybe whilst in the family business we're wearing the role of a manager, whilst and then going back home we're taking the role of a son, of a daughter, of a wife, of a husband, and that can actually leave us in a way confused on how am I supposed to react to this and this. Yes, that can be tricky. So in your opinion, how can we, I don't know, provide some sort of tips on how to be a bit more transparent, maybe, I don't know.
I think something that could be supportive is actually communicating about struggles in the two different relationships. So, if there's a conflict at work, I think it's good to sit down at the space of work during your working hours and try and somehow resolve it there, so it does not leak as much as possible in your personal life. I think sometimes something that also sticks with me is the idea of playfulness in your personal life. I think in a work environment we tend to be maybe a bit more professional, a bit more disciplined, a bit more structured. It's the environment of work. So I think leaving space to actually relax and be a bit playful and have fun during the personal quality time together to create that difference between the two environments could be supported.
So what you're talking about, Rib, is work-life balance, basically.
Exactly.
So not just see each other in a work environment, but also enjoy each other's time doing recreational events, like going out to restaurants, to coffee shops, etc. Maybe out to parks and enjoying each other's time with each other. But I also agree with you on being open, because I get this idea that when there's conflict in a family business, there tends to be issues where we're not open with each other. We let conflict kind of take over our first role, which is a son, a father, a mother, a daughter, etc. So yes, being open together, expressing your feelings, and also saying, listen, if something's not working, let's figure it out together. You know, there's no need to be so stuck up and staying with our position.
Yes.
because ultimately the whole family is going to suffer, not just you as a person, but the business is going to suffer, and if the business suffers, ultimately it's the whole family structure which is actually going to feel the consequences of all of this. So I guess being open and being transparent is essential in all of this.
Yes. And I think another advantage of the family business idea is the fact that typically people would know each other a bit more, so maybe you're a bit more in tune if your son, your daughter, your sibling is struggling at work. So you might be able to pick up on that a bit more because you know the person so intimately that you might notice more. So maybe the idea of actually supporting each other when there's such a close relationship, to actually use that. And if you notice that your relative is struggling at work, they're feeling stressed, and somehow they're not managing to keep a healthy work-life balance, to actually draw their attention to it.
And you said support. Can maybe can talk about can you support maybe a family member? Imagine my brother is having an issue. How can you help me support my brother?
I think there are practical ways to
Okay.
do that. Maybe take on a bit more responsibility from your sibling if they're struggling with specific tasks. Sometimes a bit of encouragement also helps,
Yeah.
actually
Empowerment, we call it
reassuring
that, yeah.
your sibling, for example, that they're doing a good job at work. So there are different kinds of support that would work, I think, with the individual person. So the ideal is knowing what would support that person and what that person would need from you.
Okay. So to sum up what we've been talking about, we spoke about kind of enjoying time with each other outside of the work environment. If there is an issue within the work, within the family business, let's sit down, let's have a chat about it, and let's help each other, let's encourage each other, let's empower each other, let's find ways. And if, for example, one of the siblings is not good, is actually doing a task which is not maybe up to its functional performance, we can find a way. Maybe I can do the task instead of him, in order for the person to feel relieved, or maybe to find a better role for the individual, right? So, like in these ways, we can support each other and ultimately not just support one another, but support the family business.
Exactly.
So, I guess we summed it up over here.
Pretty much, yes.
Thanks, Reb.
Thank you.